All right, folks, welcome to our international podcast, Below the Belt. Who vex? Vex. Who vex lose? We got to talk about some local government things. We're in that season, that political season, folks. And so we got a couple things to discuss. There's a lot of nonsense them boys doing. I hope you all recognize that. There's a lot of nonsense, pack of nonsense they're doing. We got a very special guest who's going to be dropping by. I want a bit surprise for y'all, so I'm not going to tell y'all who it is. I'm not going to say. Even if you guess, I'm not going to confirm nor deny who that guest is going to be. But I know we do have a guest who is going to be popping by, who is going to be dropping by. And we're happy that you folks are here with us. Folks, we want to wish MP Ronald Cox a happy birthday. We are made to understand that the good MP is celebrating a birthday today. He's about, I would average 22, 23. Celebrating a birthday today. Happy birthday, MP Ronald Cox. Happy birthday, MP. Delighted to have you folks here like Karen, Mohammed, Marlon Lorimer. Good to have Marlon. Thanks, Marlon. I see you there. I will do exactly as commanded. I shall do as commanded. All right. Good to have each and every one of you. Wherever you folks are joining us from, good to have you on the live. Good to have you on the live. Good to have you, Chiselle and Ingrid. Marlon Samuels is here too. Marlon Samuels is here too. All the Marlins come out. It's only the Thomas Marlin missing right now. Marlon Samuels is here. Marlon Lorimer. Pendleton is here too. Not to be left out. Lynette Fraser is here as well. Lynette Fraser is here as well. I see Andrew Griffith has joined us. Greetings, Andrew. Folks, we got a couple of things to discuss today. As I said to you, a very special guest is going to be dropping by. Donna Joseph is here as well. Heather Gil Hughes is here. Gil House. Depends which school you went to. You know, a little extra. Donna, Owen, Lynette, Steon Benjamin. All the Lynnettes come out too. Owen, Vesta, Grace Noel, Donna Joseph. How are you doing? Good to have you all here. It's quite a day we're having, folks. Quite a day we're having. As I said, delighted to have each and every one of you here with us. You all know we already went to the polls where the joint services are concerned. And we're going to pick up on all things poll related with GCom Commissioner Vincent Alexander. Yeah, I like talk. I can't keep it a secret anymore. I like talk. We're going to be picking up on some electoral issues with him. Andrew Griffith says Vincent Alexander is in the building. He's in the building. He's in the building. He's in the building, folks. He's in the building. Again, great to have each and every one of you with us. Bring it back. Bring it back. Bring it back. Thanks for joining our international podcast, Below the Belt. Who vex lose? Who vex lose? Who vex lose? Who vex lose? Right? Just something to kind of wake you all up. right? Kind of wake you up. Oh, 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 oh. Yeah, 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 yeah. Rick, chick, 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 chick. Fitzgolliver, see you there. Eva Juna, see you there as well. Bantu King, see you all there too. You know, they set in red, you gotta watch them. They set you got in red, you gotta watch them. Leslie, you know you're able, huh? Leslie and Patrice. Leslie, you know you're able, huh? You know you're able. Guys, we're happy you're here. We're delighted. Nothing short of delighted. Margaret Delson, good to see you there. Folks, let's get by a couple of the other things we're following. Let's get by and get through a couple of the other things we're following. Bring it back, bring it back, bring it back. They're telling us Queen Love, Queen's Love. They're telling us that Iran is going to open an embassy in Saudi Arabia. Who knew? Who knew? There was a lot of tension between these Middle Eastern countries. Up until recently, China stepped in and did some mediation. And now they're going to be opening embassies. Iran and Saudi Arabia, folks. Yep. You know, it brings to mind the truism, Gwyneth Anderson, Rhonda Spencer Thom, and Leslie. It brings to mind that truism that there are no permanent, in international relations, that is. There are no permanent enemies, no permanent friends, only permanent interests. How that sound, folks? That sounds like something Henry Kissinger would say. No permanent enemies, no permanent friends, only permanent interests. Only permanent interests. Yep. That's what the folks are telling us. And a lot of folks couldn't see this day coming because there was so much tension between these two countries of recent, up until recently. And then China seemed to have worked some kind of magic. Them boys are softening up again. That's what folks are telling us. They are softening up again. Yep. And that's one of the things we're following, folks, internationally. If some of you are a little tired from the morning as we are, we can now feel the day dragging on. We've been up so early. We can feel the day dragging on. You know, smash that emoji button for us, folks. Hundreds of you are watching us across the internet. Hundreds of you are listening to us across the internet. Smash that emoji button for us. Good folks. In India, they're telling us that in the investigations concerning that train crash recently that killed over 300 persons, they're telling us the investigators are not ruling out the possibility of sabotage. They're not ruling that out as an option. Right? If you sabotage a train or whatever it is, knowing you can kill a lot of people, you're different. You and the devil is friends. If you can do that, you and the devil is friends. Right? You like them boys. You know? That's not good. It's not good at all. Marcel, good to see you. And Lorraine. Lorraine, how you doing? Good to see you, Lorraine. And all the other folks joining us today. Beatrice, we see you there. Over 400 folks are listening to us on our podcast. We're so privileged. This little humble podcast, all y'all, really, 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 really. Yep. So the folks have not ruled out the possibility of sabotage. I see Maureen says the devil in them. The devil, wicked, dirty devil in them. Folks, apologies. We're going to try to take off some of those notification songs that's creeping through. As if it ain't bothering you, definitely bothering me. I'm at the age and stage. It's the slightest little noise. It's the slightest little noise. We are at the age and stage. But folks, good to have you here. Some of the other things we're following. They're telling us an asteroid, the size of 28 sheep. I don't know why they made this analogy. The size of 28 sheep supposed to ram past. I see the pun there. Ram past the earth. And we should carry some people with it. Yeah. The little one. The little one. The light one. We should carry some of them red t-shirts. An asteroid, they tell us. The size of 28 sheep. Tempted to add an S there. It could carry some of them red t-shirts with it. We can't chop some of them out and go there. That's what they're telling us. NASA says that the NASA asteroid tracker, right? And this is the Center for Near Earth Object Studies. Oh, there are all kind of organizations, eh? Center for Near Earth Object Studies. Right? Says this is going to happen. The flyby will be closer than normal, given the asteroid a rarity rating of 1. Given the asteroid a rarity rating of 1. But it is in no danger of hitting the Earth, the boys who know, nor are the 2 other asteroids also passing. Well, they put a pass yesterday. Right? So we're still here. So I guess we're still here. So I guess them boys are right. It wasn't a whirlender. The size of 28 sheep. Zooming past. Oh. Should have go with some of them. Should have carried some of them. Leon Blair, we see you there. Debbie Collins, Beatrice Selby. The light one. We see you as well. Chisel Chipper, we see you too. Those are a couple of things happening internationally, folks. You know. If Iran could open an embassy in Saudi Arabia, we could have peace in this country among the races. We could have peace. Hope you all hearing us. We could have peace. And then look what's happening in places like India. Just last week we told you that in Pakistan a bus careened off a cliff. I think you had about 13 dead. You know, people look at these things and said, the world ending. The good book says is the beginning of sorrows. It's not the end. It's not the end. So these are a couple of things we're following, folks. Local government elections is the other big thing we're following at our end. Right? Margaret Nelson says a set of black belly ones. Black belly sheep. That's what we got here. Sell black belly sheep. That's what Margaret says, not me. Clifton Mosley, we see you there, Clifton. Jude Cameron says, we outside. I add a little extra to that one. We outside. You gotta be careful when you're outside, eh? Careful when you're outside. Them boys. Careful when you're outside, them boys.
It's done.
All your 40 cheer your back at tonight. You done stop riding. Why?
Yeah. Be careful outside. Them boys. Them boys. So, folks, we are in this electoral season. We are in this season. We can't escape it. I hope those of you who are in the 592, you're making plans, you're checking it twice, and you're getting set in a couple days to go and cast your ballot. That's our hope. That we ain't just talking, that in a couple of days we can be moved to action. And more than that, you're talking with your family, you're talking with your friends, you're talking with your loved one. Right? Please and thank you about the issues. For all of those watching us in the bathroom, watching us in the toilet right now, we see you. We see you. Met a couple over the weekend. And the husband said the wife, and the night she's still locked in the ring. She's so locked in the ring. If she got to go and take a shower, she got the phone playing. She's like, I hear what happening. Why you don't rest yourself? I got to hear what happening. Folks, we don't want to break up families. We don't want to break up families. We don't. We got to do what we got to do. Got to do what you got to do. Chisel Chipper, Lynette Jacob. Got to do what you got to do. Right? I see Maureen disagree with me. Maureen, on what point? Maureen Williams disagreeing with me. Margaret Nelson. Right? Margaret says she does the same. Taking a shower and listening in the ring, y'all different. We love us some good viewers and listeners. So it's local government again. Spoke with some colleagues from Kokwani on that front today. Like the new flags at Kokwani bothering some of them. Like the new flags at Kokwani. Like it bothering some of them. We heard that was a talking over the weekend during an A finale campaign they had there in Kokwani, which is in Region 10. A lot of talking. That's what we heard. There was a lot of talking. Well, we hope they're happy now. We hope them lick mouth set, mouth to preference. We hope they're happy now. Hold the fort, people of Kokwani. Hold the fort. Hold the fort. Gotta hold the fort. Folks, and as I promise, kind of getting set to have our guest on. Getting set to have our guest on. And as we share with you this morning, Big Auntie says she done with them. Auntie Jasmine T. Auntie said, I ain't want to repeat no more. She done with them. Folks, take a quick look and a listen as we get set to have our guest, GCom chairman, GCom commissioner, Vincent Alexander is going to join us in just a few. Whole strain. But let's take Auntie Jasmine T. In the meantime. Let's take Auntie Jasmine T in the meantime.
Yeah, my name is Jasmine T. Caldata, Francis C. Vietnam. And since 1965, I become a voter. And I always place my X next to the cup. And what they are doing today, I can't take it. So I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by one vote, then losing it by data. I have none.
Auntie Data says she's fed up. She's fed up. And we know they got more like her. You know? We know they got more like her. Fed up. Might not be as bold as Big Auntie. They got more. She's not the only one, folks. They got a lot more. Just like her, she said, done. That's the point shot. Right? Rania Caesar, she said, done a finish. Unity Lias, said tired. And Anthony has Anderson. When Anderson has a message for Auntie, she said, make sure you tell your family not to vote for them. Or when Don Cook, see you there. Tell your family as well not to vote for them. Auntie says she'll finish it. As long as voting for them. But all now are fed up. Totally fed up. Leslin, how are you doing out there? Faith Joseph. The light one, Donna Liverpool. Orwin Don. Andrew Griffith. How you doing? David Amsterdam. Naomi Drucker. Naomi say, I don't know, Auntie getting a call from Irfan. I'll know. Irfan say, see what we know. Give it a little time. These things take time. Give Granger some time. Give Granger some time. If I come back for a little time. Time to make it right. Thomasina Ben, we see you there. Pinky Kerr, Edward Brooms. We see you, folks. We see you. We see you. Caleb Anthony. We see you as well, Caleb. We see you good folks out there. Getting a little Buster right now. Little Jacobs, Neon Harding, Edward Brooms, Gisela Roman. We see you all. Here, Margaret telling some lies here now. I got a tantalizing laugh and vocal. Here the lies are telling. Huh? Janet Elias, we see you as well. Here's my story. This little one talking now. What story this little one talking now? Daniel King, we see you. Gwenna Jones, we see you as well. We're pushing on the halfway mark. I just privileged to make it so far. I just privileged I make it through the night. Gwyneth Anderson. And again, Lynette has the wisdom. June 12th, 2023, we're voting up new. Y'all don't come wrong, Lynette funny. All right. When we start, contrary to the little one, I don't want no feedback. We dotting with I's, crossing with T's. Want to make sure you're receiving the audio loud and clear. Because when we live, we live. Ingrid, we see you there. Moses, we see you. Rita Clark. Francis, Yvonne. All right. We're about set. Folks, how was the morning at your end? How was the morning at your end? We're getting set to transition to our guests for today. The one and only GCom Commissioner, getting set to transition to that aspect of today's program. And watching the little ones. All right. Okie dokes. Bring it back. Bring it back. It's with the little one gone. We can send you the mic. You can do it, Jake. Right? You could do your thing. Uh, we can say the mic. You can do your thing. All right. I guess it's gonna be with us shortly, folks. We outside. The little one. The little one of we. Lester Weeks, Marcia Agard, Dolly Anderson, Kurt, and all the other folks joining us. Annette Cummins, Chisel Chipper, all the other folks joining us. Good to have you folks on the live. Y'all be like Chisel the man, who just made a contribution to our program. Hinting at the little one, the light one. Thank you, Bantu. Thank you for that comment. Be patient. It's them microwave generation, you know. Everything they want, no, no, no. Some things in life takes time. Some things in life take time. Take your time and peel your pine. Everything you want, now for now. Some things that percolate. Gotta sizzle, gotta bubble up a little bit. Everything now for now. You got problems in this life, you know. You get problems in this life. If you want to do the thing, rush. Right? I want to thank Chisel Chipper for helping me stay off the streets. Delight one, be like Chisel the man. Help your boys stay off the streets. Thank you, Leslie and Patrice Hamilton. Right. Karen Mohammed said, don't rush the brush. Karen said, don't rush the brush. Listen to Karen, man. Oh, listen to Karen. Listen to Karen. And let me behave like a big person. All right, so we're watching the paint dry. According to the light one, we're watching the paint dry, watching the paint fall. Watching the paint fall. All right, we're about there now, folks. Do we have it? Do we? Well, look, story loud, man. The light one has made a contribution to our program. Look now. Oh, my Lord. That's what we're waiting for all this time, you know. You got to force some people out. You got to thank you for your contribution. You got to force some people out. Thank you for the contribution, man. Large up yourself, according to Chisel. In my broom's voice, back up yourself. We waiting you all this time, man. All this time waiting on you. Like we gotta wait a little longer. We gotta wait a little longer. We might get some extras out. We might get out some extras. Might get a little more top up. All right, our guest is here. Let's get to it. I attempted to wait a couple minutes more. You know. Tempted to wait. Tempted to wait a couple minutes more. Right? Robin Morgan said we gotta watch them. It's true. We gotta watch the little ones. We gotta watch them. We gotta watch them. David and Leslyn, Annette, Marcia, Chisel, Robin. The light one. We watching you. Know yourself. All right, folks. And I think we're ready now. Folks, as we promised, and for the ones who don't like wait, for the ones who aren't patient, the rush set. Is another contribution coming? Look how Chisel's showing up now. Chisel showing your chest. Giselle upstaging the thing now. Another contribution. Another contribution just so. Folks, just give me another second. Apologies. No, I'm apologizing. Just give me another second. Just another sec, guys. Some of y'all gonna say the wrong thing today. Some of y'all gonna make me say the wrong thing today. All right, guys, take a sec to share the live as you're there. Take a sec to share the live. Smash that emoji button for us. Don't go out here looking tin. Giselle, please respond. The light one has struck back. Please respond, Giselle. The light one has struck back there. Please respond. Please respond there on our behalf. Folks, I'm right here. I need to take off my audio for a brief second. folks, while these guys are battling with contributions to the program, thank you, folks, so much. Allow us to say today was another day that there was no sitting of the Public Accounts Committee. The PP hasn't showed up for about 20 meetings of the Public Accounts Committee. Again, here is where the public purse is scrutinized. About 10 meetings of the Public Accounts Committee, sorry, 20 meetings they've missed, right? And today would make 21. Members of the opposition turned up for that meeting this morning. And again, the guys had no meeting today. No meeting today. Right. And this is some of what we said when they were changing the standing orders to suit itself, that this was precisely what was going to happen. 20 meetings later. 20 meetings they have missed in totality. And some of them have been in succession. And today was yet another day when they should have been examining the spending of the government, whether it's this one or the past government, and the PPP again refused to show up. Another day in the life of this country, right, folks? There's now a contribution war between Chisel Chipper and the light one in the comment section on our YouTube channel. there is now a contribution competition, guys, and notice it all goes to forwarding our program. It all goes to forwarding our program. Like, I'm happy we took long. You see, the Lord works in mysterious ways, folks. The Lord works in mysterious. I think we got over maybe 100 and maybe I was averaging $150 in contributions. You see, the Lord works in mysterious ways. Right? The Lord works in mysterious ways. All right. So we had our guest and he's popped out back. So we've now been holding for him to come back into the chat with us. And as a whole for that, the folks are telling us that the PPP is spiteful in all of this cash granted sharing out. They didn't see none of the Granger notes. set of plastic money. And boy said, set of plastic money. None of the Grangers in the notes. A set of plastic money. The sun too hot, y'all in trouble. Folks, if the sun too hot, you're gonna be in trouble. Today's the day that, as we said, they started sharing out the bribe money to buy your vote. Today's the day they started sharing that out. Folks, give me a second. I need to turn my mic off. All right, folks. So, without any further delay, we're trying to avoid some feedback. Mr. Alexander, very good afternoon. Do we have you?
Good afternoon. Yes, I'm here with you.
All right. Let me see if the audience can hear you. Guys, can you hear our guests? Give us a.
All right, let me give voiceover so they can tell you if they're hearing me.
Yes, the guys are saying loud and clear. Mr. Alexander, very good afternoon. And you know, our delayed start has actually caused us to earn some extra money to keep our program going because there is a bidding war between two of our viewers in the comment section on our YouTube platform. In the comment section, when our program is live, people can make contributions directly to our program. YouTube offers that facility, is not us at all. So these guys have been trying to outpace each other in giving some donations to our program. So your delay was useful in that sense. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Excellent. Mr. Alexander, you have been in the news as per normal. The local government election is unfolding before us. We have already had the joint services voting. And in today's Starbucks News in particular, there are some comments attributed to you concerning excuse me, some um, some amount of disenfranchisement in the joint services vote. Could you explain and expand on that for us?
Well, first of all, let me say that what occurred on Friday should not be referred to the joint services voting
Mhm.
because the votes are not yet cast. It was a joint services balloting. And let me explain what that means. People want to know what am I saying.
Talk to us.
The joint services provided to GCom the names of persons who are at various locations and away from their place of residence and therefore will not be available or should not be available to vote at their place of residence on E-Day.
Okay. Mhm.
So those persons were provided with specific ballots in envelopes that they have now, in a sense, posted to GCom. And on E-Day, those ballots in their envelopes will be taken to the places where they were supposed to vote, integrated into the votes casted there, and then counted. So they won't be counted separately. They'll be counted as a part of the overall count. So the issue is this, that the joint services provided information saying to GCom, you will find these persons in this place on ballot day, which was Friday, provide them with their ballots there so that they can ballot and then their vote will be cast subsequently. What has occurred, and it's not the first time, is that people turn up to the place where the joint services said they should be balloting and their names are not on the list. A list supposedly developed based on information provided by the joint services. My own estimation is that there are approximately 900 persons who will be affected that way, who would have turned up and be told, well, your name is not here. Bearing in mind that the number of persons who were supposed to be listed for this balloting was over 9,000. So it's about 9,993, something like that. And my estimation is that about 900 persons turned up and they were said, sorry, your name is not listed here. Now, this is not a new occurrence. This is not a new occurrence. Those persons hopefully are on the voters list and therefore can go to their place of residence and still vote on E-Day. The problem, however, is this, that if those persons are in interior locations and there is no information collected by GCom to respond to the dilemma, then they will be stuck in those interior locations and not allowed to come out to vote at their place of residence. And that is the problem we are faced with. So they are likely to be disenfranchised because they are likely not to be given an opportunity to be at their place of residence because they've been posted to some location away from home and on each day cannot return to the place of residence to cast their votes. Now, as I said, this is not a new problem, it's an old problem. I have observed this problem over the years and I've brought the problem to GCom's attention. On this occasion, I said to GCom, we need to do statistics at the place of poll to determine how many and who are the affected people, because we anticipate the problem will arise. GCom accepted the problem will arise, but has not embraced my idea that we should do statistics on these people so that at minimum in the future, we can find a solution to this problem. In fact, there are commissioners who have said to me, well, we have done all we could do with the joint service, given something is deficient, and what else we could do. So the GCom, in a sense, is shirking its ultimate responsibility to have a system in place that could ensure every eligible voter is allowed the opportunity to vote. And they are saying that if there are administrative problems with the joint services, then that's their problem. We can't solve it. I disagree with that. In fact, if GCom had done its review, which we called for, this matter would have been raised because the internal auditor of GCom, in addition to my identification of this problem on more than one occasion, also brought the problem to the attention of GCom. But she didn't have the opportunity of a review where we could have discussed and tried to resolve the problem. So it was only brought prior to the elections, prior to balloting day. It was only brought at that time. If the government and GCom are serious about the electoral system, this is a matter that should have been addressed when they were doing the review of the legislation, so that in that legislation they could have found a solution to this problem. But that seems not to be their interest. They seem to be concerned about penalizing people who they said doing wrongdoing, but they're not looking at their own wrongdoing insofar as they are not providing the greatest opportunity for people in the joint services to cast their vote, because we know of this problem. It's a recurring problem. And I wouldn't venture to say that it's because joint services are known to vote in a particular way that this doesn't bother them.
Yep. That sounds like madness, for GCom not trying to put itself in a place to rectify that. But that being said, Mr. Alexander, um, we have heard at this end that there were some irregularities in the voting at Cove and John, for instance. This is the discipline services, and also at the Grove police station in particular. Have you heard anything of that nature? And has to do with balloting.
I have not heard of irregularities in that general way you mentioned it. If you specify what the irregularity is, I may be able to speak to what I've heard.
Missing ballots in the case of Cove and John, and the case of Grove. They're telling us that there was different ballots in in the wrong envelopes for whatever reason.
That is correct. I don't know the magnitude of the problem, but I do know of a reported case where a ballot was in the wrong envelope, and when the person was leaving and he looked at the envelope that he was leaving with, he recognized it was not his name on the envelope, and therefore he would have cast a ballot for someone other than himself. That has occurred. I know that has been brought to GCom's attention, and in the specific instance which has been brought to their attention, there is an attempt to do rectification. My concern, however, is how many other such instances, unknown to us, have occurred.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow, this is
Because
quite.
it's only vigilance that brings it to your attention.
Yeah, yeah. It is quite interesting. From where you sit at GCom as a commissioner, Mr. Alexander, is GCom proper, ready for this local government election on the 12th in terms of its internal systems?
I would say that in terms of the systems, GCom has a history of running these elections, and the systems are more or less there. The question that arises is competence.
Mhm.
Competence of the people involved. And throughout the lead up to these elections, we've had a lot of missteps which have resulted in the delay, though they tend to blame other people, saying, well, people raise issues that delay them. But it is issues where they have done the wrong things that have led to delays. For example, one of the first issues was them not conducting a claims and objections exercise as a mechanism to ensure that people who are not ordinarily residents do not remain on the list. They didn't do that initially. When we raised it, they pushed back on it. When the APNU took the matter to court, they then went back and they did it. That case is one of the cases recently ruled down by the Chief Justice. What the public does not know is that the matter brought by APNU subsequent to the matter being brought had been addressed. So in a sense, the case became redundant. And the ruling of the Chief Justice had to do with the fact that this matter has already been resolved. So it's not that there wasn't a real matter when the case was brought. So, and that was one of the things that delayed the elections, and it had to do with people's competency and understanding of what should be done or what should not be done. Similarly, there was a second case with dealing with boundaries, where they went out and did it in the wrong manner. I'm of the view they've still done it in the wrong manner, but that again created relief. So what we're having, in my view, is whilst GCOM has systems that should be known and should be followed, people are given wrong interpretations to what the law provides for, and people's competency is being exposed in issues like the one which occurred on balloting day.
Quite interesting, very interesting, Mr. Alexander. We're a couple of days out from this local government election proper. What should the average Guyanese who is going to be casting a vote, who is at home and will be casting a vote, should be thinking at this time? How do you ready yourself for polling day to do so efficiently and to cast your vote effectively?
Well, basically, even in the absence of sufficient public education, voters should know that they can check in each of the local authority areas. There's an office where they can check to ensure that they're listed and where they're listed to vote.
Mm-hmm.
At those offices, they can also check to see which will be the polling place, because the polling place will not necessarily be the polling place previously used.
Okay.
Apart from doing that local check, they can also check GCOM's website, and that website should advise them on both of the issues. If they're listed and where they're listed, and also the polling place which they should be voting at. I'm advised that if they use their ID number, make an entry of the ID number on the website, then the ID number will take them to the polling place which they're entitled to vote at.
Excellent, excellent. You did mention there, which is a topic I wanted to bring up, the insufficiency of GCOM's public relations campaign. I mean, haven't we funded GCOM enough? Is something, on the taxpayer side? What has prevented GCOM from really and truly rolling out an adequate public relations campaign in regards to local government
First,
election?
first of all, let me say, you should not label what GCOM has done as a public relations campaign. Because as far as I know, the office, the public relations office, is not the office that is responsible for what you see in the public domain.
Mhm.
It is the civic and voter education office. Now, do you know that we do not have a civic and education voter manager? And
Mhm.
so that office is being managed directly by the chief elections officer. And there have been a number of issues, again, which I think points to competence. For example, the advertisement in relation to proxies had to be done 3 times because the first 2 times it had errors in terms of the deadline and things like that. So it had to be done 3 times. There are other advertisements also that had to be redone. And I can only attribute that to um, competence of the people who are responsible for these advertisements. The advertisements, to my mind, have not been as comprehensive as they might have been in the past. For example, there was no advertisement in relation to balloting day telling the servicemen that their ballots will not be stamped with the 6-digit stamp, and that 6-digit stamp will only be done when they get to when the ballots get to the place of poll
Mhm.
on polling day.
Mhm.
That has not been done. So servicemen could be confused by what should have been, what is said to be done to a ballot, a 6-digit stamp at the back of each ballot. So we've had, in my view, deficiencies both in terms of advertisements that carried the wrong information, inadequacy in terms of the scope of the advertisements, and I must say that we could have started our advertisements much earlier. But I hasten to say that this is not a matter, quote unquote, of public relations. It's a matter of civic and voter education.
Wow. And on that note, as we wrap up, Mr. Commissioner, why haven't we seen more periodic updates from GCom as a whole? The chairman especially seems only to emerge at some key times, if you want to call them key times, but we haven't seen, we are in local government election period. Votes, as you said, there's been balloting. Votes have not been cast. You're making that distinction. But we're in the period, and it's almost silence at the GCom end, you know?
Well, I must confess that I don't see a chairman who is proactive in terms of relating to the public. We have not had press conferences. For example, one would expect that as important a thing as balloting day, when it is done, that GCOM would put out a press release and, more importantly, have a press conference so that GCOM could be responsive to the concerns of the public. I don't know when last GCOM has had a press conference, whether it's at the level of the chief elections officer or the level of the chairperson.
Mhm.
So I would say that GCOM has been patently uh, inactive and not proactive in relation to the public, exposing themselves to the public for the purposes of responding to concerns that the public may have and for the purpose of making information available to the public, which should be made available in the context of good governance and openness.
Wow, wow, wow. Miss Alexander, as you wrap up again, is there anything else you want to tell our audience? I may not have had a chance to ask you, but you think it's pertinent for our audience to know?
Well, I just want to say to the audience that they ought to be vigilant. They ought to recognize the importance of any election. And insofar as we speak, the elections are on, they should prepare themselves to go and to cast their vote so that they don't end up uh, complaining about the quality of local government after elections, after not exercising their vote to help to determine the quality of the people who are going to be elected. It's important that citizens take responsibility for the people who are elected, and not to vote is an irresponsible act on behalf of the people. But there's tremendous need for vigilance, and I hope that that vigilance also extends to the persons who are uh, scrutinizing these elections, so we don't have the possibility or a reduced possibility of what occurred in 2020, when irrefutably we know that there are persons who were either dead or overseas for whom votes were cast. It
Mm-hmm.
requires greater vigilance to avoid the degree of occurrence that we witnessed in 2020.
Yeah. Mr. Alexander, before we let you go, as you said that, a number of irregularities and inconsistencies and the whole list of it we saw during the recount, and nobody wants to go back there by any means. But do you think there are sufficient systems in place? For instance, on the East Coast, we saw that phenomenon in all of those villages that traditionally vote PPP. There were documentation missing from those ballots. Is a sufficient been done? I know you said GCom refused to do a review, but you think there's sufficient that things like that don't happen, and that we actually know how the
There,
votes end up in the box?
I would say that some issues have been uh, partly addressed by the legislative reform of RUPA. Some issues. I do not think that we've had a sufficiently and comprehensive review. I think that the issues which have been addressed are issues which are the concerns of one set of people, and the concerns of another set have been ignored. But I think at the end of the day, the critical factor is the human factor. The critical factor is the human factor, and that is why I think it is so critical for scrutineers to do their work, so that the human factor cannot impact negatively the process.
All right. Mr. Vincent Alexander, we want to thank you for spending this time with us. We know that our viewers waited patiently, and we were able to benefit from your vast knowledge on these issues. Thank you so much, and we hope we can get you again as we count down the days to local government election. Thank you so much, sir.
You're most welcome. Let the watchword be vigilance.
Vigilance. Folks, you heard that. Thank you, sir. All right, the watchword is vigilance. All you hear, the watchword is vigilance. Yep. How come we get a press conference from GCom? We hearing from Claudette. We hearing from Vishnu. There's an eeriness about that. I think during election time, people need information. I don't think we heard directly from GCom how did the joint services balloting go. It's quiet on that front. Chisel Chipper and the other folks, the little one, the light one, just teasing there. Guys, thank you for contributing to our program. It means a lot to us. That's going to do it for us at this end, folks. We're going to see you back on our final broadcast a little later on in the evening. That being said, it's been a privilege having all of you here. Robin Morgan and Keith Evans, Yvette, Maxine, Dorette, Edinburgh, Frank James, we see you there, Frank. Gisela Roman, we see you as well. Daphne Aaron, we see you. Robin say, I gotta watch them. Vigilance. Gisela Roman, we see you there. And all the other folks joining us. It's been a privilege. Stay safe, folks. That's going to do it for us. Take care.